Today we're going to work on a 2013 Nissan Pathfinder. We're going to do the new Rosen Nissan FiT system. First part of the video we're going to show you how to disassemble the dash on a Pathfinder. Down low, which you can't see in the camera right now, there's a trim plate underneath the radio controls. You're going to pop that out. It's going to help you release the radio control bezel. Up top here, pop this up using your nylon tool. Safety, keeping everything protected. You want to tape off the dash. Try not to use any power tools. There's one Phillips screw up here. Remove that. That's going to release the radio control bezel. Pop that out. You got 3 connectors on the back. Unplug those. With these unplugged, do not start the car because you've got the passenger airbag disconnected. You'll set the fault code and you may have to take it back to the dealership to have it reset. Take that out. You got 4 screws here. That's going to loosen this bracket. We've also got 2 screws here on the radio bezel. Now we've got that lower trim plate removed, the 2 screws for the radio. Pop that and release it. You got 1 cable on the bottom, you're going to disconnect that. The radio faceplate is now removable. Put that in the back seat, protect it. Take out the bracket. You've got 4 screws. 2 lower below the 2-din can and 2 upper. You're going to remove all 4 of those screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to let you pull the 2-din can out. We're going to do that in a few minutes. Got 2 screws here. That's going to allow you to release the AC vent controls. So just nice and easily pull on those. Don't want to damage anything. Remove the AC venting ducts. Set those aside. You had the 2 screws removed there for the factory display. We're going to remove that. It's got 1 connector on the back. You're going to unplug that. We're going to take this to our workbench. We're going to take this factory mounting bracket off, and we're actually going to reattach it to the Rosen, the new Rosen screen. Radio 2-din is removable. Take this out. Make sure again you protect your dash. You don't want to have any damage or any scratches. So that's the dash disassembly. So we'll go over to the workbench, take the factory color screen, and we'll reassemble the new Rosen screen. We'll come back in with a harness and we'll reassemble everything and go from there. Thanks. So now we're at the workbench. We've got the factory OEM display, the new Rosen Nissan FiT system. First of all, open up the box. You're going to see your installation instructions. You're also going to see a tech tip. It's labeled Infiniti splash screens. If you're doing an Infiniti vehicle, you want to reflash the Rosen screen with the Infiniti logo. So you want to do this first. Follow these step-by-step instructions. You don't want to do a complete installation and realize you still have to reflash the screen because that means you have to pull everything back out. So very important. Install instructions, please read them, go through them before you start the installation. And then you've got the product. You're going to get a bag of harnesses. It's a T-harness for power, ground, and interface with the factory screen and the factory 2-din. You've also got a camera aux input. You got a external speaker that you're going to mount probably in the passenger kick panel, facing the driver so that the Navi prompts can be heard clearly. We've got a GPS antenna. And for this install, we've already installed it in the vehicle. It's going to be mounted on the windshield, inverted behind the rear view mirror on the glass. That's what your little 3M adhesives will do. It's not seen from the outside of the vehicle, but it does give you a nice, quick, easy installation for a GPS antenna that you will get quality signal with. And we've got the new Rosen TFT. Comes with a secondary bracket. That bracket allows you to go into certain vehicles that have the newer, larger opening. It's a finishing bracket, a finishing bezel. And you want to go ahead going to do is we're going to actually take the OEM bracket off the factory display and reattach it to the Rosen display. Notice you got a bag of screws. The extension screws for the bracket will be in there. Four screws. Slide it off. Put the OEM display aside. Take your Rosen screen. Tabs with the foam tape go upward. So this is the top of the screen. Slide it on. Take your Rosen screws. Line everything up. The brackets and the screws are countersunk, so it'll pretty much self-align itself. What you'll notice here also, I apologize, caution notice, there's a notch. That's where the micro SD card is going to go for the mapping. So if you ever have to do a mapping update or a swap or anything, you want to make sure that that's where you're looking. Take the brackets off, slide them apart, you'll see the SD card section right there. All four screws back in, tighten them down snugly. You don't want to over tighten and crush everything. You want it to be snug and it doesn't come apart. There you go. Leave that on until you get in the vehicle and pull it apart. The bag of harnesses. Pretty simple. One T harness that runs up to RTFT. One camera input for vehicles that do not have factory cameras. The particular vehicle we're working on today is equipped with an OEM camera, so we don't have to use this. Put that aside, save it for future. Pretty simple, right? Two harnesses on the back of the radio, T harness. This runs up to the Rosen screen in the center of the dash. Back to the car. So now we're back in the car. We're going to do the final portion of the installation, which is, again, installation of the T harness at the back of the radio. You're going to see two proprietary connectors that match the Rosen connectors. One, plug it in, plug the Rosen side back into the radio. Second connector. Wrong one. Take the remaining portion of the cable, wrap that up back behind here. So that plugs into the Rosen screen. As I said, we pre-wired the GPS antenna. It's actually up here on the inside of the vehicle with the black side facing the inside, the 3M tape attached to the window and the antenna facing outward. So I cheated, but there's your cable. The USB for the factory. You want to route that to the glove box. any updates, anything that needs to be done to the unit. We want this accessible from the glove box or the lower center console, so make sure that that gets put there. Okay, route that, don't leave it just tucked behind the radio. It's actually just routing the cable from the speaker and passenger kick panel. Take that down to the passenger side kick, like I said. Make it face the driver's side so you get some good audible sounds. That's going to plug into the back of the Rosen screen. So this is your speaker connection, 2-pin. Your GPS connection. Make sure that seats correctly, doesn't come loose, clicks in place, locks in place. The Rosen T-harness, and then the factory connector back in as well. Take that USB, as I said, and route it down towards the glove box. You want to have access to that at any given time. Reinstall the TFT. Everything's plugged in. And of course, what you always want to do is before you reassemble everything 100%, we'll do a mock test. So make sure you plug in display. You don't want to set the airbag sensor off or the fault light off. Make sure the cables go back in there nice and snug. This is what I consider a mock install, just for test purposes. Factory radio is all plugged back in. Factory control panel is plugged in. The Rosen TFT is plugged in. Go ahead and start your car up. What you'll notice is the new splash screen. Flashes Nissan, and it says by Rosen. Now what you'll get, rock and roll, turn the volume down, understand what we're working with here, nav and setup. So setup, you can turn beeps on and off, predictive curves, which is for the factory camera, which we want on, because this vehicle is equipped with an OEM camera, and turn info on, which means it's going to give us turn-by-turn displays on any screen that we're in. So go back and do a calibration. May take 1 or 2 times. Screen's calibrated. Go back. Now we're back in the regular regular OEM screen. Press nav. Goes into the Rosen Navi screen. Press accept. You've got navigation. Menu. Find address. Choose your destination, hit enter, and you will be on the road. Everything seems to be functioning correctly. You have an exit map here. That's your quick out. Just press it again. You're going to go back to the factory screen. Looks like everything is good. Turn the brightness and contrast up. We know that presets and the factory screen are working okay. Shut it off.